Thank you so much for taking the time to come out to this library here to speak to me. Now, why don't we get right to business? I went ahead and casted some magic to ensure that no one else can hear us. That way, I can ensure that you feel comfortable enough to say what's on your mind. So, you wish to join our adventuring party, am I correct? I mean, I did get some time to look over your application here. Everything seemed to check out, which is why I reached out to have a more official type of interview. But do not worry, I'll do my best to keep it casual. So why don't I start by describing who exactly makes up our party and what our goals are, since we are looking for a member who is going to be here long term. We really don't like the whole coming and going kind of thing. Then after that, we can see if we still hold an interest in joining and proceed from there. Is that alright? Good. The party consists of myself and 3 others, and if you couldn't tell already, I am the wizard of the party, or as some of our members like to call it, the brains, which is probably the main reason I was given the job of searching for a new member. I would not exactly call myself a people person, but I guess I am objective enough to not allow emotions to get in the way. I also don't really like to call myself the leader of the group, but oftentimes it does feel that way, as I tend to make many of the decisions. Anywho, I'm getting carried away. In terms of how the group came to be, well, it started with the tank and myself. Him and I go way back. We grew up in the same village, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him a childhood friend, since at the time we rarely spoke to each other. To be honest, the first time we really spoke was a few years ago, after our village was attacked and wiped out. Unfortunately, we were the only survivors. I will spare you the details of everything that occurred that day. It would be too much to tell at this time. However, if you do decide to join us, then I'll be more willing to give you those details if you like. So, long story short, the tank and I started becoming friends after that. You know what they say, once you go through a traumatic situation with someone, whether you like it or not, you somehow bond over it. Mind you, at the time this all happened, we were nobodies with no skill at all. But the one thing that kept us going was wanting to figure out who exactly was responsible for our village's demise. Which leads us to becoming who we are today. As time went on, we found some clues, some instances of similarities in other villages. But it seemed like it's going to be a long adventure, and we could honestly use all the help we can get. To briefly talk about my friend the tank, he's a nice guy. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's an amazing frontliner. Has kept us safe so many times now. Honestly, the guy's like a rock. But of course, a strong idiot and a smart weakling can only get so far. We found out early on that we needed a healer. Thankfully for us, our search didn't last long. Honestly, it feels like the cleric fell right into our arms. Oh wait, she did. Quite literally. Our healer is an interesting one. It all begins one day. Me and the tank were in town, and she was trying to warn a lot of people about the demise of the world. Well, no one believed her. To be honest, they mocked her and called her crazy. We honestly didn't think much of it at the time. You hear and see all kinds of things after all as an adventurer. But fate would have it, later that day, we were walking down some steps and heard a scream. yeah, someone pushed the cleric off the stairs after some type of argument. Well, thankfully the tank was there and caught her. So we decided to do what all good people do, and we decided to hear her out. She was very awkward, but not a bad person. She didn't deserve the treatment she was getting. But there was something that caught our attention. When talking to her, she mentioned having a dream that was more or less what had happened to my village. Which is strange because she's not from my village, nor the tank or I even know her. After that whole conversation, we could tell she was genuine. Girl's too nice for her own good. So in the end, we decided to let her join. I mean, her goals kind of go along with ours after all, so it just seemed like the right thing to do. That, and she's very competent in her healing abilities. She has enough care and emotions to make up for the rest of us. She's a good soul. And now I get to talk about our last member, which you might find even more interesting than a cleric, since, I'll be honest, I don't know a thing about them. Besides that, they're a rogue. They keep themselves covered and wear masks to cover their face. I don't know what they look like. They also don't speak. I am not sure if it's because they can't, or if it's more of a choice. Regardless though, they are a huge help. And yes, before you ask, I've tried asking them questions, but no answers. So you may be wondering why I decided to let them join in the first place, right? It's a bit of a story, but I'll go into it. It's not a story that I am very proud of, but I'll be honest with you, I don't want to hide anything when it comes to these things. Well, you see, we kind of found ourselves in some trouble, and this rogue came to our rescue. I'll explain. The cleric, the tank, and I were dungeon crawling, you know, typical adventurer stuff. We were looking for stuff to bring back to sell. We do struggle with money from time to time. Well, this dungeon we were in had a lot of traps, and somehow we got locked in a room with a big metal door and were unable to pick the lock ourselves. We're not very good at that kind of stuff. And before you ask, yes, we tried to break the door down, but failed. We were way less skilled back then. I do want to preface that we don't find ourselves in that kind of trouble too much anymore. We have learned from our mistakes. I know telling these stories can make it seem like we're incompetent, but I swear that we are not. You'll have to take my word for that. Anyways, back to the story. And as my lovely friend Fate would have it, this rogue was also in the dungeon, was making their rounds, and picked the door from the other side. And that unintentionally saved us. After being stuck for almost a day, we practically begged them to stay with us. And to our surprise, they agreed. That's pretty much the story. That was not my proudest moment, but, you know, I did not want to have that happen again. Sorry, I struggle to remember those instances of my stupidity. Anyways, we will carry on from that. They don't say much, but they definitely do their part, especially when it comes to disabling traps and picking locks. I have no clue what their goals are. They don't seem to be the greedy type. Instead, they seem to just like the journey. None of us really know for sure, though. But yeah, that's the general gist of our party. Now, with that out of the way, do you still find yourself interested in joining us? You do? Well, that's a relief. I guess I can go ahead and ask you a few questions. Just give me a second here. Alright, first question. Are you willing to work together as a team at all times? And what I mean by that is, let's say you're having an issue with someone else in the party, but something serious comes up and we need to band together to get out of it. Are you willing to do your part, regardless of what else may be going on? Okay. You will? Good. I will be writing some things down. Okay. Next question. Did anything that I shared earlier resonate with you? As in, do you come from a similar background? Or have you encountered any situation similar to the tank in mine? I see. So you have no ties to whatever's going on. Honestly, that's probably for the best. We do need someone with an outsider's perspective. You actually may be able to pick up on things that we may not notice. Okay. Now, why is it exactly that you want to join us? I see. You have a thirst for adventure. I respect it. But how much of a thirst for adventure do you actually have? Are you willing to put your life on the line for it? Well, you really are something. It must be serious then. Not that any of us intend to die here. We'll do everything in our power to keep everyone safe. And that feeling will continue to grow once we get to know you better. Okay. So, on your application here, I read about your abilities. Very interesting indeed. You seem to have a talent. You could probably go anywhere, honestly. The possibilities are endless for you. So I will ask you again. Are you sure that you want to join us when you could do so much more? I see. Well, we're happy to have you. Welcome to the party. For now, feel free to enjoy the rest of your day. I'll let the others know about you. We can meet at the tavern where you saw our post. How does 4 hours from now sound? Oh, and you better come hungry. We gotta throw you a little welcome party, okay? Before I forget, let me go ahead and drop the magic. There you go. You are free to go. I'll be seeing you later today. Thank you for giving us a chance. The cleric stream was right. This person seems to be the one. The one who has the power to change everything. I just hope it's in our favor.